Thank you for joining us. Now, Kenya has joined the rest of the global community in the marking of the 10th anniversary of World Cancer Day. This year's theme is We Can and I Can, and the aim is to prove that every single person can make a difference in the fight against cancer. Our senior reporter Carol Nyeri will be joining us shortly from Nyeri, where the national event is actually taking place now. Now, breast cancer has largely been associated with women, and according to the health experts, very few men go for checkups, even when the symptoms of the disease are at an advanced stage. So, as the world commemorates the World Cancer Day today, KTN's Moremi Mwangi spoke to a colleague journalist diagnosed with breast cancer.
For a budding scribe who earns his daily bread telling stories, some very emotional about people, 31-year-old John Karume, a correspondent for the Standard newspaper based in Kiambu, probably felt that there was no cause for alarm, or simply nothing to write home about a small lump that was swelling by day in his chest. After all, it was just a swelling, causing no pain at all. And so he went about his daily duties unperturbed, that until he noticed that the lump was swelling towards his armpit. It would only dawn on him months later that he had just become the latest breast cancer patient.
Waited for 7 working days, upon which on December 4th, Dr. Githaiga revealed to me that whatever they had been investigating has been confirmed that I'm suffering from breast cancer. And by the time they were realizing, I had been suffering from the disease for 7 months.
Karume is one in the growing statistics of men increasingly being diagnosed with breast cancer. And as the global community prepares to commemorate the World Cancer Day on Thursday, health experts have now raised their alarm over the disease which they say most men are ignorant about.
The thing about men is that they have very small breast tissue. They are not like women. So the first and the commonest presentation of breast cancer is a lump, a painless lump usually, that will be found behind the nipple or within the breast tissue. If you find a lump, you should be able to rush to the doctor or whoever the medical person to seek medical advice. In other words, men should also be doing what we call self-breast examination every month, so that if they find a lump which is likely to be painless, they should worry about it and go to see the doctor to help them sort out what exactly. It may not be cancer, but it's good to know.
Early signs of breast cancer include swelling on the breast, nipple pain or the nipple turning inwards, redness or thickening of the nipple or the breast skin, while some men experience discharge from the nipple, at times painless, a symptom which consultant breast surgeon Professor Ronald Wasike says is very common among patients, yet very few of them go for checkup even at the advanced stages of the symptoms.
Going to the hospital and being diagnosed with early breast cancer early or being detected by screening is very, very important, because it gives you a chance not only to live or to have an overall survival of about 100% or 95%, but also gives you a chance to save the organ that's affected, in this case, the breast. So that's why it's very important for us to tell the public that they should go for screening, because by the time you are feeling a lump, you already have the cancer. We want to.
Wasika says 1 in every 100 cases of breast cancer is reported in men, and in most cases, genetics plays a great role in its prevalence, hence the need for regular checkup.
But the breast cancer gene 1 and 2, if they are mutated, then they affect the breast tissue in terms of development and growth. So that these people have those mutations of BRCA gene or breast cancer gene 1 and 2, they have up to 85% chance in their lifetime of developing breast cancer.
Karume has so far gone for 2 chemotherapy sessions and still has some 4 more sessions to go. An expensive affair that has seen his colleagues in the media open a paybill number in an attempt to get him the necessary financial aid.
Per session, every day that I'm going for my chemo, the whole amount that I use amount to about 25,000, and I do this after every 3 weeks.
Message from the practitioners is that you need not wait for that swelling on the breast or for that painless discharge from the nipple to make that call to the doctor, and that with a monthly self-breast examination, then you can keep cancer and such radiotherapy sessions at bay. Murimi Mwangi, KTN News in Nairobi.
Definitely, screening remains to be a big part in the fight against cancer. Now, Kenya has joined the rest of the global community in marking the 10th anniversary of World Cancer Day. Now, this year's theme is We Can, I Can. And the aim is to prove that every single person can make a difference in the fight against cancer. Well, our senior reporter, Nyeri, is in Nyeri, where the national event is actually taking place. And now she joins us by way of phone for an update. Carol, what can you tell us? What's happening on the ground?
Good afternoon, Betty. Yes, the national event to usher in the World Cancer Awareness Day is being held in Nyeri, particularly at the Kamukunji Dead and Kimathi grounds in Nyeri town. And the Director of Medical Services, Dr. Kyoko, is presiding over the function, joined with his counterparts from the health sector in Nyeri County Government, that is Dr. Charles Gedenji, and other stakeholders. Now, perhaps what informs the choice of Nyeri being chosen as a venue to hold the celebrations to usher in this particular day is that, and this is information we extracted from Dr. Gedenji, who is the Minister of Health in the Nyeri County Government. He says that Nyeri as a region has a high disease burden, meaning the cases of cancer are very high. And perhaps it has been leading, that is Nyeri and its environs, the central Kenya region, and perhaps by extent the Mount Kenya region, has been leading in sanctioning programs that deal with lifestyle diseases. We are talking about diabetes, high blood pressure, and cancer. So perhaps that informs the choice why they came to Nyeri to hold the national celebrations, or rather the function to mark the World Cancer Awareness Day. Betty.
And Dari, I'm curious to know what is the resounding message that is being talked of there at that particular event. What is the message that of course many people who have attended that event are going to leave with?
It's basically, the keynote is about sensitization, encouraging people to go for regular checkups. You see, they're saying that most people, especially men, are sort of hesitant or reluctant to come to go and seek help, to go for regular checkups, to go to medical centers. You see, like the story that my colleague Murimi Mwangi has just featured, a colleague, a journalist, that is Karume from Kiambu, suffering from breast cancer. So most men also perhaps associate some of these diseases with women, and they're saying that it is important and prudent for Kenyans to go for regular checkups. Now, Betty, we managed to speak with some of the survivors, and they're saying, and patients suffering from cancer in this particular region, they're saying there is one oncologist who comes to the Nyeri County Referral Hospital once a month. There's one oncologist who comes monthly, so you can imagine the queues at this particular time of the month when the oncologist comes. So it's hectic. And some of the services are not available at the regional level. For example, radiotherapy, most of them still have to travel to the Kenyatta National Hospital. For example, the queue for radiotherapy, as we speak right now, has gone on to 2017, meaning 2016 has been booked for radiotherapy. Most patients going now are being told to go in 2017 for radiotherapy. But at least at the regional level, they got some reprieve because of the Nyeri County Referral Hospital. They were able to get chemotherapy services. This began last year. Betty?
Thank you very much, Carol Nderi there, speaking to us from Nyeri County, where of course the national event marking World Cancer Day is taking place. I want now to shift our attention, but still on the issue on World Cancer Day, and I want to hand over to my colleague Sharon Momanyi, who now has the statistics of where we are as a country in the fight against cancer. Sharon, over to you.
Yes. And as our reporter there, Carol, there is saying, the choice for having the World Cancer Day celebrations in Nyeri is because of a high cancer burden in the county. But we now want to take a bigger picture of just what exactly is the burden in the entire country. We know that the Ministry of Health has declared cancer a public health crisis. So what exactly is that burden? We see that cancer causes 76 deaths daily, resulting in an annual death of 27,000 people, showing that this indeed is a crisis and is no mean feat. Cancer is also the third leading cause of deaths amongst the diseases, including coming third after cardiovascular diseases and infectious diseases, just showing that this indeed is a conversation that needs to be continuing in the country regarding how to mitigate this disease. It is also the 7% of overall national mortality is caused by cancer. This is according to the World Health Organization. And because of this burden, we see that patients who are seeking medical treatment have had their appointments in hospitals which have cancer equipment stretched out all the way to 2017, having to wait more than a year to just have a session of treatment with specialists and in hospitals that have this specialist equipment. Now, what is the cancer burden still in Kenya? We have more than 1,000 cancer patients seeking treatment overseas, and that is because also of that growing number of patients being infected with this disease, and the less equipment that are available in the country, and also very less access because few hospitals this far have the equipment that are able to treat this disease. So we see up to 10,000 people seeking medical care outside the country, mostly going to India, and we see that the treatment costs more than 11 billion shillings annually. And just the other day we saw the Ministry of Health raising an alarm over this, going outside the country to get medical treatment, saying that the country, Kenya itself, is able to treat these diseases, but we see that the burden is what is really affecting the patients who have to wait for a long time to have a session of treatment. And we see there also that this was actually declared a public health crisis. Now, what are the causes of cancer? And we know that the World Health Organization has attributed cancer to aging populations across the world and unhealthy diets, as well as use of alcohol and tobacco in an unregulated manner and lack of physical exercise. We've seen the message by health experts has been moderation as far as the use of alcohol and tobacco are concerned. Now, what is the awareness level in terms of, do the population know what cancer is, what are the causes of cancer, and how to manage cancer in the event that they are infected? And we see that 10% of women in Kenya have had breast examinations. Now, this is really alarmist because what it means is that 90% of women in the country have not had breast examinations. This includes screening both in hospitals and having self-exam. And so 90% have not had, screening for breast cancer. We also have 76% of women have had of cervical cancer. But out of this, only 14% have had cervical cancer screening. So there is also that, disparity of knowing about the disease and actually taking deliberate steps to having yourself screened as a measure of preventing the disease. Still on matters awareness of the disease, and we know that 65% of men have had of prostate cancer. Now, prostate cancer is the leading cancer in men in the country, and only 65% are aware, know this to be a disease that affects men. So this is just over half of the male population in the country. But note, just 3% have been examined by a doctor for the disease. So 3% of the male population in Kenya have been examined for prostate cancer, and this is really alarmist, going to show that the men are not taking that preemptive step of having themselves screened against cancer. Now, what is cancer? What is the steps that one can take when infected by cancer, and what measures are there to care for cancer in the country? Now, what is really a matter of concern in the country is that most Kenyans do not have health insurance, and 82% of women and 79% of men are not covered by any health insurance. And this is a concern because treating cancer is really an expensive affair. Going for radiotherapy and chemotherapy are really expensive matters. matters, as well as screening. Although now and then we have had, campaigns which included free screening, where Kenyans have been encouraged to have themselves regularly screened. So that not having health insurance is also a big concern as far as cancer is concerned. And we know that there has been that campaign encouraging people to have themselves screened, because early detection is the biggest measure of reducing the cancer mortalities, because once this is detected early, then the chances of having it cured are higher. But what is good now, there is a hopeful message, because there are new NHIF packages that have been introduced in order to deal with non-communicable diseases, not just cancer, but also other non-communicable diseases. So what do these new packages offer? Let's go to the next block. The new NHIF packages offer 25,000 shillings per session of chemotherapy. It also offers 18,000 per session of radiotherapy, and this will really go a long way in easing that burden of treatment for patients who are handling the different types of cancers. The new NHIF rates also provide 8,000 shillings for CT scans and 5,000 shillings per month for non-communicable diseases checkups. So these are yet to be introduced, but have been announced, and will really go a long way in helping cancer patients to deal with a treatment that comes in very expensive. Now, what health facilities does the country offer? We saw that the Ministry of Health announced that 4 cancer machines and centers will be introduced. They were actually to be introduced by July of 2015. And former Health Cabinet Secretary James Macharia just attributed the delay in this because he said it's taking too long to set up this cancer center. So they are to be put up by next year, that is 2017. And the beneficiaries would be Mombasa, Kisumu, Eldoret, and Nyeri. And each center will cost 1 billion shillings each to be set up. We'll see that this will increase access for this treatment for patients in these different areas. The government is also to install 21 MRIs as diagnostic machines. So this is just a picture of what the cancer burden is in the country, what patients and the general public really needs to do in terms of mitigating this, and what mitigation steps are being taken by the Ministry of Health. Betty.